Hello, my dear ones. Still hitting it today. I want to finish the video that I started earlier. Now, that was a short one, so hopefully we'll make this about an hour video as well. But you have so many great questions and stuff. I'm so proud of you, and I want to make sure that I get help as many of you as I can. What's all this? Jazz. You know, the jazz that was on, what was that, The Voice, was it, or American Idol, one of the two. Thanks, sweetheart. I'm a 33-year-old female from Hawaii who currently lives in Greece. Wow. Yeah, we have some friends in Greece. Matter of fact, we were going to go over there and do some lecturing and try to get some healing centers set up over there, but I've been told they're pretty traditional over there as well. Until I was 20. I ate the typical American diet. While I always loved and ate plenty of fruit and a fair amount of vegetables, excellent. I ate pork chop steak and roast beef like it was my job. But you had fruits and vegetables too. I did too because we were farm people, you know, but that wasn't the main focus. My consciousness began to shift in my early 20s, and by the time I was 26, I had left meat behind for good. 80% of the time, I have been dairy-free. Ghee, have a weakness for Indian food. Oh, you too? Well, we have a brand new, of course we don't even have one and never had one, but there's a brand new Indian restaurant opening up in this town. This is going to be hard. This is going to be hard. Holy crap. And I peeked in the window. I just was walking by, and and it did look like they had a buffet in there. Damn. For a few years in between 07 and now, I ate fish, seafood, but those days are long gone. I am grateful for this shift in consciousness, even if it took quite a while. Yeah, time's a relative thing, isn't it? Doesn't really exist. Despite leaving meat, fish, dairy, etc. behind, I was like most vegetarians and vegans who consumed a high-fat diet and was addicted to pastas, grains, and beans. Typical, absolutely. And those things can tear you up. Oh, since my early 20s, my body was always bloated. And digestive problems, mild daily diarrhea, etc., even on a vegan diet. I also have had eczema since I was born. Wow, there's so much of this skin, but I think you can trace that to the thyroid glands and people's inability to get enough body temperature to sweat. And then after years of subcutaneous building up of lymph, then it becomes even harder to sweat. So getting the thyroid up where your body temperature is above, let's say 97.6, would be helpful to sweat. But again, that shows that you've had lymphatic problems out the chute. Out the mother chute, you had lymphatic problems. But that's how it is because we live in our mothers and we're hooked to their blood and lymph systems. So what's theirs is ours, so to speak. I was given steroid creams. Boy, did they just make it worse. Oh, yeah. And always told by doctors I have to live with it for the rest of my life. Additionally, I've had sinus infections at least once or twice a year and sometimes more. I hate that. Well, yeah, I lived on dairy too. And boy, winter times come, locked up, nose drops, things like, I was addicted to nose drops the only way I could breathe. And I couldn't poop. But no one's focused on the diet. Couldn't have been what you ate. And it's like, well, what else could it be? But, you don't think of those things sometimes in some levels. Lethargy, mild depression from time to time, and incessant. Now, here we could get back to that parathyroid thing. And incessant bouts of sneezing. Oh, again, your body trying to clean itself, trying to get rid of things. When you sneeze, when you cough, when you vomit, obviously, methods of elimination. Yeah, if your kidneys and bowels don't do it, it could be up for grabs. And leave pus and tears flowing out of my eyes. Pus out of your eyes. where a typical, I wonder what medical doctors would say about pus coming out of the eyes. I suffer from year in and year out. You did. Oh my God. I know the suffering you're talking about. I mean, I don't think I had it that bad, of course, and I never took steroids or anything like that, because farm people don't do that kind of crap as a rule. Maybe modern do, but not in the old days. You didn't, you had to die to get carted off to a medical doctor. But like my dad did, have a piece of wood from a power saw shoot right up his hand. Yeah. But, my dad was strong. No pain meds. Doc Friend gave him a quart of whiskey and said, start drinking. And in he went. And we had to go to his house. And in he went right up in there and took out a piece of wood and rammed right up in the... Oh, I felt sorry for my dad. I knew he was in pain. But that's the old way. Give you some alcohol and go at it, baby. I started your videos when I was living in Bali. Oh, wow, cool beans. From 2012 to 2014. Boy, it doesn't seem like we've been doing these videos that long, does it? And I believe it is the reason I started incorporating more raw fruits and vegetables in my life. Now I live in Greece, and I finally shifted from 50% raw vegan diet to 100% raw fruit and veggie lifestyle. Yeah! This is a cool woman right here. The majority of my calorie consumption is, and I can tell by the way you word your wording too, by the way, my dear. The majority of my calorie consumption is from fresh fruits or freshly pressed juices I make at home. The first 2 weeks I did all fresh fruits. Now I occasionally have a salad, maybe once every 2 days or so. No oils, grains, beans, nuts, soy, or almond milk for 3 weeks and counting, and I feel fantastic. Of course you do. You do get feeling fantastic, except for bouts of healing crisis. Okay, the body's going to clean itself and fix itself, but man, coming off of beans and grains and crap like that, boy, do you feel good. You feel light, you feel meditative, you feel quiet. You can just keep on going to the benefits of how you feel. Now, some people like to feel gassy, bloated, fat, things like that. I never did. Now, I can focus for longer periods of time. My energy levels are more throughout the day, and my skin has already improved in terms of hydration and clarity. Excellent. Keep going, because it just gets better, 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 better. This isn't where you just do it a little while and it gets better. No, you want to take this train of yours right into Wellville. Get this done. No more skin problems, to where you can have something bad and you don't have any kickback from it. You're too clean. Absolutely. And she's absent of a lot of cravings. And since I've always had a sweet tooth, you can imagine how freeing this feels. Oh, yes, big time. I went after the fungus in me one time with Parasite M, and boy, I can't tell you. I didn't crave pastas, grains, or nothing like that anymore. I never really have been a big bread person like that. But definitely now, nothing like that even turns my bippy on. I like flavor. And fruits and berries and melons. Oh my God. I like my salad, but not near like I like a fresh, ripe bowl of fruit, organic fruit. Oh, whew. There's just, you can't help but smile when you eat a big bowl of ripe organic fruit. It's like, oh my God, this is nectar. Two, I can remember craving hot drinks and, if possible, frothy, milky drinks. Oh. Well, I can't say anything. I used to like my malts, vanilla malts and chocolate malts. Love malts. No one told me growing up that one of the biggest mucus formers there is. Yeah, no one ever said that. You drink the milkshake, you're going to have to take nose drops. No one ever said that. I haven't had or craved one since day 3. Boy, you're doing good, sweetheart. My work requires me to dine at restaurants and write about them. No kidding. Cool job. Oh, my God. How do you do that? My work requires me to dine at restaurants and write about them, so I have to start eating one cooked vegan always meal per week starting later this month. Well, I guess it could be worse, if that's your job. And of course, when it comes down to the final analysis, once you get your body healthy, it is all about the flavors. Once this work project wraps up at the end of August, I intend to do a full fruit detox using your herbs and shift the focus of my work so that I may maintain this wonderful new diet lifestyle. You turn me on. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. Cool stuff. I wanted to share my story with you and to say, what's that? M-A-H-A-L-O. Mahalo for the inspiration and education. Well, great love to you from me, my dear. Any day. We're all in this together. It's just a natural rhythm to put your hand out and say, come on, let's go have some fun. Before I sign off, I have a couple questions to ask you. You got it. I am ordering some of your herbal formulas when I make a trip to the U.S. in a couple of weeks. Lymphatic 1, Parasite M, Adrenals, Kidneys, GI, Broom, Upper Circ, Brain, and Nerve. Are there any of these that I should not take concurrently? Should I order some of the tinctures and some as capsules? If so, which ones? I would do your 14-week program, but need to save more money first. Well, you always want to do, I would say do 2 kidneys. If you're not filtering, do 2 kidneys, 1 lymphatic formula, and make that a capsule because that'll help clean the bowels with it. So move yourself from lymphatic 1 capsule to lymphatic 5 capsule back to lymphatic 1 capsule because you want to take a break off the number 5 capsules because they are super strong. That's your blood group, poke group, chaparral. Those are your strong babies. But they will help super clean the bowel too. I definitely do a GI broom. I definitely would do a stomach and bowel for a short period of time and then move to say a heal all capsules. If you really wanted to save money, you could do the GI broom as long as you're moving your bowels well, lymphatic 1 capsule, 2 kidney formulas. And if you want to do a glandular and your blood pressure is really low, then I'd do a glandular. If your blood pressure isn't that low, maintaining a 60 to 70 diastolic, then I would say do the adrenal herbal formula or endocrine gland. You know, get a picture of your eyes, take a look at where you got the ups and downs here. But yeah, you got it right on. Upper circuit, brain, and nerve, that is just good stuff. That I need to get back on that. That'll turn my hair. When I do that, you'll start seeing my hair turn color again. That's just the way it does it to everyone. It's just that I haven't been taking them. And you know, sometimes you just don't, you get away from that stuff. And they're right there with me, you know. It's just, you can't take things all the time like that. Are there any of these that, no, they all work good together. They work good together. I have not seen too many of my herbs pulling on each other, to tell you the truth. Sometimes I feel things like that, but I don't feel anything like that yet. I watched a video that labeled spider vein. Oh, yeah. That was just out. I just put that out. But it only brushes over the topic. Could you explain how we get spider... Oh, then that's on the video I just did. How we get spider veins, please, and whether or not an intense fruit diet and water fasting regimen can eliminate them. I've had them since I was a teenager. Well, you know what? I was kind of thinking, when you said something back here, I was kind of thinking of parathyroid at the time. Now, I've been doing iris analysis and 14-week protocols so much that sometimes I forget whose case is who. Just for lunch, I did 2 protocols for people and an iris analysis. And, sometimes yeah. But you get spider veins and varicose veins when you're eating proteins, bottom line. Bottom line, when you bring acid foods, forming foods into the body, and this would be true of nuts and protein and beans as well. Anytime you dump a more acid diet into the bloodstream, a more acid-based diet instead of a base diet, then you're going to have that pH change or shift of the blood, which can happen without serious consequences. So the blood obviously has the ability to steal. And it has to steal electrolytes because that's the only thing that neutralizes acids is bases. So what's the most predominant base in the human body? Calcium. Hands down. And it is used in everything from nerve transmission to skeletal systems, obviously, to connective tissue, which holds everything in place, holds it firm and tight, holds the organs and glands tight, holds the vasculars in and tight. When you start borrowing calcium out of this connective tissue system to fight acids, you lose connective tissue, just like you would bone. So what happens is you develop bone spurs because in the presence of phosphorus or nitrogen or acids, your calcium ionizes, turns to a rock, And so this is how you get bone matrix, is mixing calcium and phosphorus. So again, calcium is leached out of the vascular walls, weakening the walls. And you could have this even in a genetic stance where your walls are weakened because somebody weakened them by high acidic diets. But to straighten them up is to reverse that process. In other words, eat a high electrolyte, high calcium diet, which comes naturally in fruits, berries, melons, and vegetables, particularly in your vegetables. But it's not about how much you consume, it's how much you digest, absorb, utilize, remember? Yeah, we have numbers of fantasy sometimes where it's way too much because everybody treats everybody the same. It's true at one level, but physically everyone has different level of absorption, different levels of digestion, determining on their genetic family trees. So yeah, there's a lot of variables in individuals, and yet we're all the same. You just have to understand at what level we're all the same. But you definitely want to work on those spider veins. I don't like that. So work on your parathyroid, because somewhere I picked up the sense of thyroid and parathyroid here. But anyway, that's what you want to do. But whenever you dump a predominantly acid-forming diet into your body, the blood hits first. So naturally, that's not gonna exist. That's not good. Because that's how people kill themselves, of course, is bringing in acids faster than the blood can still bases to neutralize, to keep that proper pH balance. So the superfood blend, I'll say this, if you want to fix like scoliosis and spider veins and things fast, get yourself detoxed a little bit, get your kidneys filtering, get your bowels cleaned up, then hit the parathyroid glandular. I'm sorry if you're a vegan, but you know, when you're going after the parathyroid and you have serious things, this is the one you might have to just stretch on a little bit, because it's hard in herbal lore to find anything for the parathyroid gland and anything that's going to make a difference in any type of speedy thing. So remember, depression is another parathyroid issue. It's another calcium issue. This is why you see postpartum depression in females, because their babies just suck the calcium out of them, you know, a lot of calcium, and they can't put it back. Postpartum depression occurs in females with parathyroid weaknesses. And you can look at Andrea Yates. I talk about her a lot because I'll never forget that poor thing. She drowned all 5 of her babies. And if you look at her on the news, she's real gaunt. And she said that God told her if she didn't drown them, that the devil would get them. When you get to that level of extreme calcium deprivation, you're going to have hallucinations. When you don't utilize calcium, nerve impulses are involved, your connective tissue, you can see your skin is very wrinkled and very gaunt, and you can tell she's major parathyroid. So what does psychiatrists have her on? Antidepressants. And here we go. Those on antidepressants have a tendency to kill people. And yet this system can't get out of the way itself. It knows that. But no one, notice this, all these deaths in America, the Columbine deaths, all these schools, the kid that went into the kindergarten and killed these little babies and all this kind of crap, and then the theater guy, then there's a guy in California that's a famous director's son. Every one of these they've found were on antidepressants. You think you're going to hear it in the news? I'm sure pharmaceuticals companies are going, whew, I hope they never find out that we're the cause of these things. We're the actual link to why all these kids are killing kids. Oh no, we pawn it off. And this is the sickening part of our society right now. Is pharmaceutical companies sit at a major criminal activity, and yet no one's doing a thing about it. That's because they deal with the money. Bucks. If you'll sell your mother for $1, you know, and that's just about where we're at. So, you know, you can abbreviate with that. Upper circuit brain and nerve, if you need it. If you need to save money, then you don't have to use those two unless you think you've got cholesterol plaquing or anything. If you've got cataracts, you better use upper circulation and brain and nerve, because that's cholesterol, and that means you're also plaqued in the brain. And if you have a client like that, you want to keep them from stroking or heart attacks, you want to use upper and lower circulation on them. Keep them on it until you can clean all this lymph out and the cholesterol buildup out and all this stuff. Yeah, you want to fix your parathyroid gland, honey. Now, you have to determine whether it's the parathyroid or the pituitary. That's where you guys will have to come in and help. One way, you can get a picture of your eyes and take a look at that 12 o'clock, each side of 12 o'clock, depending on which eye, remember? I think probably Thursday, Drew and I are going to go over your eyes, and we're going to do one last eye thing there and help you guys out with that sort of thing. That way it'll keep me good with with everything. Appreciate your understanding with that. I've included some fun fruit. I saw that. In Greece, almost all produce is local. Wow. And it has the best watermelon out anywhere in the world. Don't do that to me. I mean, that's torture. Jazz, you're torturing me. You're torturing me bad. Jumped on the counter. Look at this, guys. I love you too. Aloha to you too. And that's a seeded watermelon, baby. Oh, you have no idea how that plate wouldn't last me 2 seconds. Look at, now this is how a refrigerator should look. That's how your refrigerator should look. Wow, love it. Love it, love it. That's some cool pictures. And look at this. Oh my God. And then she's got, of course, toilet tissue by the watermelon. Interesting. Oh man. You guys are great. Doesn't it feel good? It feels good to feel good. That's all there is to it. And those of you that don't feel good, it feels good to feel good. Don't let anything stop you. Working on yourselves and working on your body there. Don't let anything stop you. This is Farnas, Farnas. I have a few questions. Number one, how can we move our lymph? Sport, rebounding, but what if my kidneys are not filtering? How can I move my lymph? That's an excellent question. When you find the answer to that question, you let me know. Okay? Number two. No, I'm being serious. I don't know. If you can't filter through the kidneys or skin, you're going to have some excretion, and you'll see even gases coming off of you. But you'll excrete a little from the eyes, hawking up a little mucus from this way. But if you don't filter, this is what I see too, my friend. If you don't filter, how do you move lymph? You don't. And then, because this deals with the acid waste from the cells, stagnation occurs. Well, then your lymph nodes, because everything backs up just like a sewer system would. Your lymph nodes swell, then the tissue on the other side starts to swell, and then you start setting in acidosis. Well, acidosis, of course, breeds dehydration. You're burning your electrolytes up, and now you have dehydration. And that's a good question. In my opinion, because I come through the times where rebounding and things like that. We used to sell rebounders. I've had my own rebounders and the chi machine, that sort of thing. But in actuality, your kidneys must filter, and you're right on with this. And I think you bring up a very important thing. It's something that I keep talking about here, is if you don't filter, this is the problem. And you've got to get that going. If you don't, sometimes your kidneys filter minorly and okay, but you can always check the pH of your urine to determine that. Because if you check your urine and it's base, it's alkaline, you're losing your electrolytes and you're not moving your acids out. But to be honest with you, it takes a little bit of time to hydrate and to create. Look what happens to fluids in an acidic medium. They dehydrate. And the same thing with radiation treatment. You dry up, you dehydrate, and you become hard as a rock. And the same thing with your fluids, the same thing with everything, same thing with tumors, everything else. When you work in this field long enough, you start to see the connecting link to everything. And that's exactly what you guys are seeing too. I'm trying to draw these pictures as much as I can. But my opinion is move lymph, get the kidneys filtering before you start pounding. Because I'll say this too, those of you that are doing rebounders, I won't mention any names, that have broken hips, take a chill pill off of that. Because you don't want to overstress tissue. You are doing quite fine on raw foods and fruits. That's the beautiful thing about that. Fruits exercise you for yourself, especially when you have a kidney filtration problem, because the more you pound the knees, the more you hurt your knees, the more you hurt your hips, because you're not filtering yet. So you're creating more acids as you're increasing activity of cells. And that doesn't serve anybody well. It doesn't move lymph, because lymph is stagnant because your eliminative organs are stagnant. Now let's go to the skin and acne and psoriasis and all this. What gland kind of controls sweating? Well, what gland controls fevers? Hello, thyroid. So when your thyroid is down, you tend to not be able to sweat as well, and you don't realize it, but over years, the skin goes down and waste start accumulating under the skin because you're not sweating enough, profuse enough to open this door up. So it just starts building and building. Now, this has been happening over generations. So you're coming out the chute with these skin problems because the body's already lymphatic up from mom. And of course, mom's lymphatic up from her mom, and it's just been a long time coming. So we're in big trouble, the humans are. Oh, that's good water. So you're right on with that, man. You're right on with that. My whole life I had excessive sweating. Oh, wow. About 3 years ago, I had surgery to remove... Ow! No! No! Oh, crap, man. This is just typical medical consciousness right here. And I know you guys know about what I'm about to read to you. Get this. Holy crap. This is serious stuff right here, and where he had it removed. Yeah, and hyperhidrosis. About 3 years ago, I had a surgery to remove my sweat glands under my arms. Oh my God. But now I know that sweating is very important for my body, and I know I regret what I did a lot. My kidneys are not filtering. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see, get on a raw diet, see if we can't grow those little puppies back. But this is a very important lesson you learned here, is that, and for a medical doctor not to understand sweating, the thing is, this whole clue was right there for you. It's just you did not have help in the appropriate modality. This is why I'm so down a lot of times on the medical. They did not, oh, we'll just take out your sweat glands. You're sweating too much, we'll just remove the sweat glands. I don't even think children are that stupid. No offense. But I don't even think children are that stupid. What does over-sweating suggest to you? Now, you can suggest hyperactivity, but I've got another take on it. When you're over-sweating, that's the skin, right? And the skin is what? Well, the largest eliminative organ of what system? The lymphatic system. What's the other two eliminative organs? Ah, the kidneys. So when the kidneys aren't filtering, guess who has to make up for it? The skin. And guess how? Oversweating. Whenever we get a lot of that here. And when you oversweat, that's the first sign your kidneys aren't filtering. When you start sweating too much, one big sign. Your kidneys aren't filtering at the level that you want, or you might be holding too much water from acidosis. But you don't never remove sweat glands. That is not there, because that's going to affect your lymph nodes, your lymph system, and everything else. So see if we can't get those to grow back. But you see why? The medical doctors are asking for this. They're sticking their face out saying, knock it off. Because they're just doing stupid, ignorant things like compromising people's health for the rest of their life because they don't have their heads out of their ass. It's like, excuse me, you remove someone's sweat glands because they sweat too much? That's like hyperthyroidism. If you're hyperthyroidism, we'll just cut a piece of it off, and we'll keep cutting it off until we get to the right numbers. Or we'll just take it all out and just give you some synthetic stuff. Ah! Ah! Man, if man don't wake up to that, I'm telling you, oh my friggin' God, that's insanely stupid. But I've heard this many times, my friend. Many people have had their sweat glands removed because of that. Many people. Sad stuff. Sad stuff. I would don't worry about it, because there's nothing you can do about it. And keep going after health. Keep going after health. Keep going after health. Get your kidneys filtering. This is the lesson of the day. Go to the kidneys and fix them now, because your body's been telling you, and no one's been able to help you. This is another reason why I do these videos. And some of you might get a little bored sometimes, but it's all about the cases. And when you start going through all these cases, you'll see how it's all interconnected. And pretty soon, the aha button comes on. Aha, I get it. So yeah, you just have to work with trying to grow those back. Keep working to get the kidneys filtering. How can I support my GI tract with which herbs? I would definitely do stomach and bowel number, whatever you need. If you move every day, number 1 for a little while, use the GI broom with that. Then you could just use GI broom with the raw foods. That's all you really need. Use the GI broom for a while, clean the bowels. Then you can shift to maybe, I keep people on stomach and bowel formulas all along, the whole program. I've been shifting after about 3 months into Heal All capsules, because there's a little more drawing action. And then we can do a little bit. By that time, you're on the GI broom. We pulled on your bowel wall, plenty, everything's good. So it's the first few months you really want to deal with cleaning up the gut. Thank God that oh, thanks, my friend. You're a good dude. I love you too, man. You know, you just do your best. Keep working this. You'll be fine. Just get these kidneys filtering so these lymph nodes don't swell and get stuck. That's a big thing you want to do there. And then once you get your kidneys filtering, if you're over sweating in other places, it'll come right down and it'll balance out. It's the opposite of undersweating. When you don't sweat, you're starting to get accumulation. When you're oversweating, your body's trying to make up for kidney filtration. So once you fix the kidneys, everything goes right down. You know, a lot of times the body's just trying to overcompensate in one area for a lack in another area, and that's what you have to look at sometimes. Medical don't think of those things, but you've got to, if you want to be a good healer. You got to say, well, why is the body doing that? What else does that affect? You know, start looking at that broader and seeing the connecting links. And then you won't end up thinking stupidly like that medical doctor said, let's just take your sweat glands out, take care of that. Oh my God. Yeah, I've seen this, like I said, many times through the years. I bet they have a whole procedure. I mean, it's just, oh, this is Brianna. Hi, Brianna. Subject, ask a YouTube question, message. Can a raw food diet heal scarring? Absolutely. It's the only thing that can heal scarring. You know, if you fracture a bone, if you look at that as it's healing, you'll find that the body wraps a lot of extra cells around that, tissue around that, or you could call it bone, but cells and matrix around that fracture. And it's almost like the body says, how did that happen? I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. So when the coast is clear and everything seems to be good, the body just takes that and dissolves it right up and makes it look like a bone again. Well, scar tissue happens more in a highly acidic medium because connective tissue is weak, low calcium, all these things, and therefore, and of course, weaknesses. When the body comes across a weakness, it's got to either do one or two things: over-support it or get rid of it. That's nature. That's nature. Remember that in nature? Strong survive, the weaker consumed. So just remember that inside of you. As you weaken, then you're set, because virals will then love you. All these things will love you because now you're setting up a condition where they can express themselves. In a healthy condition, you don't have to worry about virals, bacterials, or anything like that, because everybody's doing their job as nature intended. It's when we become sewage dumps that you see extra growth of these things. And we blame them, but really, let's look at ourselves and our diets and things like that. Can't blame nature, who's just doing its job. But that's typical. in some of the sciences out there. But scarring and what about adhesions? You know, when you go in, and the problem with surgeries, we talked about this before, is when you're going into the body in surgery, you're going into either a damaged, highly acidic area where there's a lot of inflammation. Well, surgery doesn't correct inflammation. It creates more. But it removes that which is the problem area. However, it doesn't remove the lymph. It could in a bad way, but it doesn't remove the cause of the problem. Surgery doesn't do that. Surgery is just a carpenter going in and repairing. You still have to fix the problem, and the problem with that is that the lymph system isn't working well anyway in these areas, particularly in what you're creating. Now, in trauma cases, possible you have a better lymph system, but we see both sides. You know, some spinal cord injuries get up and walk away, and some don't. Guess who's not filtering? Guess who has weak adrenals, low neural impulses? The one that doesn't get up. So this is all individuality for sure, in the context that we're all from one species. And so scar tissue, you've got to get in, and what do you have to do to remove scar tissue? You have to remove why it's tissue scarred. Well, why does tissue scar or become hardened with extra cells? Why? Acidosis, always. There's only two sides of chemistry, and every single thing in nature is chemistry. Remember that? So you can, from a chemistry viewpoint, just say, okay, which side of chemistry is this problem on? Well, 99.9999% of the time, you're well within appropriate measures to say acids. Not difficult to prove, easy to show and demonstrate. But you got to remove the acid medium. You got to hydrate interstitially around these areas and let the body chew the scar tissue up, and it will. But that's 100%, in my opinion, because it's the only time I've seen any of this goes 100% raw, and start getting your lymph system under check. And just sit back and let the magic happen. If you got adhesions, it'll eat them up. Endometriosis, scar, it'll eat all that up. But it can't eat up what it can't eliminate. That's the big deal. And elimination is a big deal. It isn't just about consumption. It's about elimination as well. I have both minor and severe scarring from an injury I attained as a child, and minor scarring from an injury several weeks ago. That does show how acidic you are, my dear. I really want to heal them completely. They are bright red, but have not been successful. You got to stay 100% raw, get your kidneys filtering, really go after your health. Don't worry about the scars, because you have to go after health. That's the appropriate focus, and the scars will take care of themselves. The appropriate focus. I think I was alluding to this client we had yesterday, I think it was, or maybe last week, where she had the acid treatment on the face, except I think this was laser. And boy, of course it scarred her real bad. But when you looked at her eyes, thick skin ring. So she already had weaknesses, and this is some of the considerations not being considered. And it's in surgeries and things like this. And like I said, even one oncologist wouldn't give this lady chemo because she had a parathyroid weakness. And she had spider varicose veins, and he said, they'll just blow if I give you chemo. Thank you. One honest guy in the mix. Thank you so much, honey. But go after that. Stay raw. This is how you fix scoliosis. You got to get up there at these high levels. Think about this. In nature, you would be 100% raw. Remember, cooking is just something we devised because we're Homo sapiens living in hostile environments. So, fire! But you don't fire your foods. You never fire your foods. That's the one thing we went wrong, was firing our foods. Because by firing your foods, you drastically change the chemistry and eliminate the energy. Well, that's why you eat. That's why you eat in the first place. So why would you destroy your food before you eat them? It makes no sense. But Mama cooks good. Real good. My granny, really good. And that's the sort of thing, how life spins. And it doesn't get out of the way of itself. We keep spinning. This is why you're needed so bad to infuse spirituality in this issue. This planet needs a little infusion going on here. Is this you again, Bree? Hi, Dr. Morse. This is another Bree. This is a 17-year-old female. All you young ladies and guys, wow, I just hate to see you guys suffering at your early ages. I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. You deserve to have a good time. I'm a 17-year-old female just graduating high school, and I really need your help. I have a question regarding detoxification. I went on all fruit, mostly organic, for over a year. Wow, damn, that's good. With absolutely no cheating whatsoever. Woohoo! And this time, several of my teeth began to rot, and I lost all my enamel. Wow! With this in mind, I also never felt better. Are you serious? Is this the one you wrote me before? I want to return to this diet. However, I'm extremely fearful that this will happen again. I spent over $3,000 on my teeth to fix it. You know what, honey? You want to think of a couple things, and we've done some videos on this. You want to make sure your mouth is alkaline. Now, when you eat your grapes, you'll see the alkalinity of it. When you have this kind of problem, you want to stay away from your citruses and your acid fruits, pineapples and stuff like that. These are acids. Get you some pH papers and check your mouth, because you want an alkaline mouth. You want your saliva and all your mouth to be alkaline. And this is part of the problem. As the lymph system backs up, your gums back up, your mouth becomes acidic. When you start eating some of these foods, it just is icing on the cake. And such poor quality foods, you just have to be careful with that. This is something I would look at, Bree, is I would look at my parathyroid gland. You know, I talk a lot about the parathyroid glands. They are located behind and above the thyroids. These guys is how you utilize calcium, parathormone. How do you utilize calcium? You need that hormone. So you want to check to make sure you're not low in that. And that's the one reason. Also, gums. I would tell you this, I would use the Hill All tea or even the 3 Lung tea, and I would make a nice tea, skin temperature, and I would watch TV and hold some in my mouth for a little bit, spit it out and put some more, and start cleaning the mouth and the gums a little bit, astringing them a little bit and cleaning them a little bit, because that's essential. Because we have had people with loose teeth, gum abscesses all over the place and everything else, and their teeth cleaned it all up, teeth locked down, new enamel, stuff like this. But if you have a parathyroid weakness, that could be a big deal for you. And at 17, you'll want to know this, because you could have you might want to be a mama one of these days, and you don't want to have a parathyroid. We just discussed this in postpartum depressions. So you want to check that one out for sure. Because you want your enamel to regrow as it should. But this also might give you a clue that you could have other skeletal and connective tissue problems. So you want to take a look at that. And I would stay with the subacid categories, and you might want to add a green drink a day. And then check your mouth pH of your saliva. You always want alkaline saliva. Another thing you could do is take a little baking soda, aluminum-free baking soda, it's bicarbonate, and put a teaspoon in a cup of water, and just sip it throughout the day. Wash your mouth out throughout the day. Even after you eat, bring base chemistry into the mouth, because that's your healing chemistry. That's your calcium and electrolyte. That's your healing energy. They're burned in the presence of acids, of course, because that's how ionization and all things happen. The waxing and waning of chemistry. But yeah, you want to fix this for sure. Now, make sure you're filtering, honey. Look at your kidneys. Look at this. You might be at 17. You know, some 17-year-olds have some serious kidney filtration and adrenal problems. Check your blood pressure. You know, look at a few things in your life and fix these things, honey, while you can. Because this would be very important for you to look at some of the things that 17-year-olds are having. major kidney weakness, major adrenal glands, major lymphatic problems, skin problems, neurological problems, and digestive problems. Those are the whole pool of problems that young people are having from birth on. That's the hodgepodge of the focus. So I would go after that. If you can afford even the Fab Four or anything like that to kind of give you some help there. When you depend upon fruit in today's world to fix your body completely, I just don't see that unless you're in Costa Rica or an Asian country, something like that, where you have good fruit. Outside of that, it's tough up in the northern climates to even get good fruit and stuff like that. It's just a struggle. I'm in Florida, and we can't even grow watermelon in Florida. I refuse to buy Florida watermelons anymore. I'm done. If you're from Georgia or above, I'll buy you. But if you're in Florida watermelons, they just cut their own throats. They can't raise them good anymore. And it's not worth lugging them around to deal with that. But definitely want to rebuild your mouth. But here's another problem. Gums. You want to get your lymph system cleaned up in here because you reseed your gums and everything else will go on there. This is from Susan Johnson. Hi, my name is Susie, and I have had very dry skin since I was a baby. And dryness is what? Dehydration. So this is very important for you to think about. If you've had dehydration, then you know underneath you're probably building up, dear one. And you want to be real careful with that. You want to check your thyroid, so check your basal temperatures. Temperatures under your arm before you get out of bed in the morning. You want to at least be 97.5, 6, 7, 8, closer to 98 than the mid-97s would be better. So you can have, just like we were talking about sweating earlier. You want to get yourself up and sweating because the more dehydrated you get, you quit sweating. Well, that starts to lock your lymph system in. And then you start having more lymphatic system. And when your skin isn't filtering and your kidneys aren't filtering, that's when tumors and cysts start growing pretty readily in people. When you stop all elimination, or most of it, you can imagine, you can imagine. My mom tried to find cures and went to any doctor she could find. But they all only gave her creams, and she is determined it comes from the inside. And that's exactly right. I mean, and a medical doctor doesn't know that this is an internal problem. I mean, is that scary? Come on, guys, that's scary. I still have not found the cause after 39 years. Go no further than your lymph system, dear one. Because dryness is an effect of acidosis. It's a dehydration. And of course, this is your skin. This is your kidneys and your adrenals you want to look at too. When you think skin, you want to immediately think kidneys and adrenals as well. Why? Same system. Same system. And what system are we talking about? The lymphatic system, the same system that removes acid waste from cells. When that isn't accomplished, and the kidneys have lost their filtration, then acidosis sets in, and acidosis dries you out. This is why you see a lot of edema. And so this is a big deal. It really is. And you're right on. This is an internal problem, but this can be tracked to your kidneys and adrenal glands, and maybe even to your thyroid gland, and not sweating. So look at all those things. Get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up, and all that up. You can dry skin brush and all that. We have skin formulas. Clean your liver and your GI tract too. Liver, and skin, they claim are related. So do all that. Clean your bowels out, and you'll hydrate your skin. You'll hydrate your skin. Remember I told you that lady that gains 5 to 10 pounds just taking a shower? You don't want to be like her. That's extreme dehydration. And dehydration falls under the acid sky. So you don't have to go any further to find the cause. This is all cellular waste that are not going anywhere fast. My skin is, I'm wondering if you have any ideas. But of course, darling, this is all we do. My skin is dry and cracks in dry, cold climate and gets better in the sun. no eczema or sensitivity, get red very easy, and extreme points are heels, chins, and calves. All over, really. Yeah, I mean, this is just lymphs. But once you get lymphs moving and you get yourself hydrating, then your moisture. What's interesting in what you said here is that when you're alkaline on the outside, it makes for more drying. But when you're acidic on the outside, it makes for not. How interesting. It does show you that at low levels, acids are beneficial. Take a look at estrogen and testosterone, essential. And they're low-level acids. They're not the causer of cancers and their thinking, but they definitely are icing on the cake. What would be the first thing that you would have estrogen and testosterone bite you back? Stagnant lymph system. Because all that acidosis on top of having, say, a dominance of acid steroids would not be fun. Dear Angel Morse, thanks. Nicolas, I love you. Go ahead. Are sprouted fenugreek seeds a good addition to our diet? You could. I don't have really any big thing against that at all. I read very good things about them. Apparently a good expectoration and act as a broom for the digestive tract. Yeah, I thought they would be good. Fenugreek is already great for hardened masses, tumors, hard sputum in the lungs. That's why I have fenugreek as one of the 3 herbs in our 3-lung tea, because it helps to loosen up hardened masses. And of course, just what we talked about, dehydration or being too acidic dries you out. And of course, then that mucus dries out and locks in interstitial spaces. Well, that's when you get the dry coughing and all these things like this. So as you bring hydration or alkaline chemistry to the body, you get your kidneys filtering, everything starts moving. Ever how slow or ever how fast, that's an individual thing. Then everything starts hydrating and moving, and the little choo-choo train starts getting up to the top of the mountain, and everybody's good. Don't get yourself filtering, and you're in for Hellville. That's all there is to it. Can I do GI broom morning and evening, or is it too much? I don't think it's too much. The GI broom is just a lot of astringents. And these astringents are good, like white oak bark. High in calcium. White oak bark's great for toning. Matter of fact, our varicose spider vein formula has white oak bark in it because it's astringent, it's a toner, high in calcium. Don't you love nature? Don't you love herbs? You can do all kinds of great things with herbs, not with pharmaceuticals, but boy, with herbs, they love you. You can take them to bed with you. They're so good. Nobody wants to take a pharmaceutical to bed with them. Let me see here. I did it once, and I felt very tired and following morning. Yeah, maybe too much pulling. Yeah, you hit it right on the head. It's possible. So take it easy. You'll get there. Just relax. The best thing is don't try to accomplish everything in a matter of a month or two. It's just not going to happen. Just relax. And what is she doing? Just relax and let your health come naturally. Just don't overstress it. I know a lot of you suffered for a long time. And my tendency is put the pedal to the metal. And that's okay with me. But do it with some balance, and that sort of thing. I hardly sleep and wake up tired a lot. Well, hit your pineal gland. And here's again, you're going to beat me up a little bit. But when you have problems not sleeping, then my suggestion is take a pineal glandular for a short period of time while you're using upper circumbrain and nerve, and you're getting in the endocrine glands, and you're working up in the head area, and you're trying to, alkalize and get the inflammation out and settle down. So take that. I would take 1 to 2 capsules of pure pineal gland concentrate, glandular, about 1 to 2 hours BS before sleep. That's what I would do. And then when you get your rest and everything's good, then you can come off of it. Fix some things first. Turn some things on. In an acid sky, things start dying. When you start putting in base chemistry, you're turning things on. Besides fruits, adrenal 400 and parathyroid glandular that I take with a few herbs like brain and nervous. Yeah, I hit the pineal gland one. But know that and I'm glad you're on those herbs, because you got to get up here and fix some things. Now remember, if you have a pineal or pituitary weakness, what other tissue is involved? And I'll give you a clue. It's not even up here in the head. Oh, I heard you. I heard you too. GI tract. GI tract. You got to clean up your bowels. I've always said to clean up your head, you got to clean up the bowels below, because your head kind of sits on them. It just kind of makes sense, you know, to clean up what's down below, and then things can flow. The sinuses can flow, and you see that in bowel movements where you have a big bowel movement and your sinuses start draining. Shows you the interconnection of the whole body. It's amazing. That's why I go after health. You can't just go after one thing. You want to go systemically after your health. What else can I help? I love how you talk. What else can I take to help upstairs? Again, I think you're doing real good that way. I think I would use the pineal gland, clean up the bowels down below, put yourself on some grape fast, and really try to get your sinuses going. Anybody around you sick, go hug them. Try to catch something if you can catch anything. I suspect the pineal, but you guys are so smart. I can't say enough good things about you guys. You're learning how to deal with the human body beyond most practitioners. I love it. I mean, if you're going to sit there as a naturopath and a medical doctor and be stupid, then we're going to pass you up and start curing the world up. Sorry, because we're not going to sit back. Are also challenged with too acidic of an environment for you. Yep. So get that bowels cleaned up. And that'll, especially this transverse colon, which you can't just hit that one area. And that'll open this doorway for you. Itchy scalp, yeah. I mean, there's a high fungus, but you would expect that, right? So itchy scalp and dry burn, no. Dry burning eyes. Dry burning eyes. What cytochemistry causes dry burning eyes? We don't want this. You don't want that, honey. Dry burning eyes. No. Because what does that lead into? Could we say dry MACD? Could we say wrinkled retinas? Could we say detached retinas? We don't want that. That means you're very, very acidic upstairs, and no wonder you can't sleep. So I definitely use the eye wash to promote blood and lymph flow. You can take it internally to help too, because it's going to go right up, eye bright and bilberry and all that. And I've got some herbs in there for increased circulation and lymph flow. So it's a good formula to help. It'll help a little bit, but this is internal, but this will help absorb. So use the eye wash temporarily. Say in the morning and the evening, 12 drops in an eye cup. You don't want to do that. You don't want to stay with dry eyes, dry mouth too long, or see you later teeth, see you later gums, see you later eyes. See what I'm saying? Under the acid moon, you're going to lose your tissues. That's what acids do. And we should have been taught this when we were in grade school, learning more about how our body works. But I wasn't of the level to really get it, because I didn't even care. I'm a freaking mind, you know. I'm raised working farming and a whole bunch of other things. So guys were more into racing cars. I raced cars. You know, I had pony cars because my dad was a Chrysler dealer. So I had Plymouth Barracudas, 440s, and Chargers. I used to race them. I mean, that's all you do around Indiana where I come from. Your car is your status quo. So when I got to Florida and dumped my car and got a cheap Volkswagen, I was happier than pigs in slop. It just... Now, itchy scalp and dry burning eyes, get rid of those, honey. Definitely are just signs of that backed up. Oh boy, are you right on? I use the eye wash to help the. You guys are really, really good. Take the pineal gland or the pituitary. I'd take the pineal gland first to get yourself some rest. Without rest, it wigs you out. So I used to pull a lot of shifts in hospitals. I used to do 36s. I've done 40, depending on the hospital and their shift ratios. But I used to do plenty of 12-hour shifts and plenty of 8s, you know. For nerve regeneration, do you recommend supplements early in the detox? Or well, that's a good question. You know, quite frankly, honey, I actually put people on brain and nerve all the way through here. Because remember, we've had cases where we've demonstrated, and universities have proved this. Of course, they don't ever win the Nobel Peace Prizes, which they should. When you discover something really important about the human body, that is another piece in the puzzle for true healers, you need to win a Nobel Peace Prize. You've done well. You really did good. And so this university found that, there is neurological type 1s. Well, and this is Canadian, of course. So, of course, then that really makes sense. Then you start realizing, whoa, the nervous system literally controls everything. So, of course, when the nervous system's down, everything is going to go down with it. So I've been putting people on brain and nerve, too, right off, just because I'm seeing so much neurological suppression of cell function. Can't forget that, because you got a whole system called the electrical department, the nervous systems. You got two of them, remember, the worker bee, which is made up of two sides, the autonomic, parasympathetic, sympathetic, how you open and close the door, and then you've got your central. So, they're cells, except they're electrical cells. And they like what? Electricity. They like what? Energy. So when you eat cooked dead foods, what are you doing to your electrical system? You're draining it. It's a law of physics. So when you're eating cooked food that gives you maybe 1,000 angstroms of energy, or units, whatever you wish to call it, and its counterpart raw is going to give you 9,000 or more, can you see the difference? When you consider humans are about 6. So look at the average human, around 6,000 angstroms of energy. Pulling them up to 10,000, can you imagine what that can do? Doubling their systemic energy almost. Can you imagine what that would do to them? That's what this is all about. But we've created all of this ourselves. So I go right after it, honey, from the beginning, but it doesn't matter. But I go right after it from the beginning. Yeah, I go after it. I've been putting them on brain and nerve. Now, not always upper circulation. Not for a month or so. And then I go with upper circulation. It just depends on the case and what they're in there for. If they're for anything up here, of course, they're on it from the get-go. Because that's how you help and save people from stroking and heart attacks and stuff like that. Because when you see cholesterol in the eye now, you got to help save them. Because these are people that could have little TIAs, little mini strokes and things like this frequent. Or the big one. So, it's not fun to work on a stroke victim when you could have saved them from going through that. Now, for a while before using Panax ginseng and Ultimate Immune, you've been listening to the videos, haven't you? You're one smart girl. That's exactly what you want to do. When you're looking at spinal cord injuries, or you're looking at MS, or you're looking at Parkinson's or Lou Gehrig's or anything that's down, you want to look at your tonics, especially after you fix the kidneys and you've got the acid. Yes. You got the myelin sheaths on repair. Your adrenals are now producing adequate neurotransmitters, and your brain is pumping too. You're getting your cerebellum cleaned out. Absolutely. Now's the time to enter the world of tonics. So, the Panax ginsengs, Dong Quai for the females. Females can handle some Panax, but it's pretty hot. Then you've got your antlers. This is when antler comes in, and when you have someone in a wheelchair, or you have a legitimate, safe harvesting, I'm for the people in the wheelchair, because these precious beings are loved and taken care of. Not everybody treats animals bad. Those people are going to have bad karma. Not everybody treats animals bad, guys. So, we have to fix ourselves. And you are listening, and that is good, because that's a definite. When you have these deeper issues, you want to get into the tonics, and they will start strengthening cells. And boy, well, just look at the man, 256-year-old Chinese guy. Remember him? My chairs are here. "256 years old. Died in 1933. Lived through 2 or 3 dynasties. This was hanging in Dr. Jensen's wall. He said, "I want you to have that, my dear Robert." And I said, "Thank you very much." Because Doc was always into longevity. Turned him on. Too bad he wasn't a vitalist. And yet all his friends were vitalists. Look, his friends were N.W. Walker, personal friend. Bragg was his personal friend. Shelton, personal friend. I know for a fact, hospital testing, I am dehydrated at the cellular, yep, and heard you say even herbs cannot get through when dehydrated. I feel I might be wasting my money on herbs. No, I didn't say herbs can't get through. This is how you help get through. You have to use herbs to get through. Herbs or diet is the only two tools we have. But you're going to go through the channel of getting eliminative organs eliminating again, because you have to fix the doorways first. That's obvious. And then your consumption will help. But you want the herbs that are specific for the tissues. You want to get into kidney-specific herbs because you want to fix the doorways. You want to clean the bowels. You want the specific things for the specific areas that's closed down. And then you can have fun and open all this up. I love you, my dear Nick. Thank you so much for all this. I appreciate it. And take care of yourself. Good questions. Excellent questions, guys. Excellent questions. Excellent questions. No name sign. Hello, I have been battling this weird illness for 6 months now. Been to the hospital 3 times and they sent me back home with painkillers and antibiotics. Sounds like a common ritual. I suspected it was Lyme. My symptoms started in my upper jaw and roof of my mouth. Uh-oh. It would feel like someone is beating me in the head with a bat and my face would start tingling. Uh-oh. I am only 20 years old and a student. Holy crap, my friend. Are you serious? I live in Fort Lauderdale. Well, you're not far from me then. I just had my wisdom teeth taken out thinking that would relieve my symptoms. For some reason, I notice it is worse whenever I eat bananas or anything that has sugar on it. Dentists can't find anything either. I do have amalgams and 1 root canal, but with limited funds, it is hard for me. I would appreciate any advice you can give. What do you think, guys? Okay, where's our clue? Down here, he's saying he has amalgams and 1 root canal, so we already know his mouth is highly acidic. And here's the problem. There's a lot of palate cancers nowadays. It's just a weird place. But I've had palate cancer in here. I've had eyeball cancer. I've had around the eye cancer, scalp cancer. I mean, you can just name all types now. Okay, so here's the deal. You already know that because of your past that you're very acidic in the mouth. And you know to be acidic in the mouth, your lymph system has to back up. And this is when you see things starting to go numb, you're getting pressure on the nervous system or the nervous system's breaking down, either one. What system does both of those? Blood or lymph? It's not blood, so that only leaves you one, bro. So absolutely. And this is can be a problem that you don't want. So let me highly advise you, if you don't have much money, to get on the Fab 4 or ask the girls if there's anything out there that we have in the back that we can give you. You can tell them I addressed you this over the YouTube. You don't have a name here, so I don't know how to put a name on this. It's enough to say, young man, that make this a priority in your life, because your central nervous system's going numb. I don't like any of that. I don't like anything you say here. I don't like anything you're saying here. And this is all up in, that's a lymph system. Because remember, everything is cells with blood and lymph. That's all. That's as simple as it is. There's nothing in there weird. It's all cells, tissue, and then blood and lymph supply. When the tissue is being involved or being suppressed or in any way affected, it's coming from the 2 fluids. The thing is, though, it's rarely from the blood. Lymph. I just don't live on that lymph like a pole up my butt. But it's enough to say that it's not difficult to figure out which system we're having trouble with. Let me tell you, you've got to fix this one. So, we just talked about affecting the head area in a positive way is going down and fixing your gut. So you want to get on the GI brooms, even if you can afford just a few little things, or they might be able to even give you a thing of GI broom. Get your bowels cleaned up. Get on 100% raw, first of all, and you have to eat anyway, so you got to do 100% raw. And out of that, I do 80% fruits, berries, and melons for a few weeks, and then I go 100% fruit. And then, while I'm thinking about it, I do about a 20-day grape fast. Because if you can't afford herbs, you got to do this level. You got to kick it up to the higher fasting levels, because without herbs, you got to get up there into the higher levels of healing, man. Because you don't want, I had a guy with a palate cancer. It's not fun. Some university did some type of proton treatment on it and sent the cancer all through his head. But they were just experimenting on him, according to him. It was a famous university. I won't mention any names. That's what happens when you play in the field of unawareness. You hurt people. And that's a big thing. All I can say, and my advice to you, my dear lad, is you get your butt in gear and you get on a raw food diet and you get this out of there. And this is the lymph system. If you need help outside of that, see if the girls get a hold of Elizabeth or Jen B and see if there's any herbs back there for your kidneys, anything to get your lymph moving, because your next thing could be a tumor. I'm serious. You want to deal with this. Okay, that's all I got to say. Deal with this one. Do we have time for one more? Oh, Gina's Raw Vegan Life. Yeah, you guys are so beautiful. You're beautiful, beautiful beings, beautiful souls. Your expressions are beautiful. You're helping others. I mean, I'm proud. I love working with you guys. It finally feels good out there a little bit. This may be a crazy question, but I am wondering, what exactly do you consider to be fruits? Well, for instance, I have always heard that foods like cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, squash, etc. are all considered fruits as well. Is this your belief as well? Yes, it is. Actually, this is the belief from the Fruitarian Society back in the early 70s in Washington, D.C. There was a National Fruitarian Society, believe it or not. I don't know if it's still in existence, but in the 70s, and I wrote to them because, I'm a fruitarian thinker. And I'm going, and when you read the books by the fruitarians, like Carrington and who's the other great fruitarian thinkers, there's some good books out there. You just finally realize that, it's kind of a traveling growth. First, you realize that raw food overcooked is the answer. That cooked food is food that we've destroyed. No wonder we're no energy and unhealthy. We're killing our food before we eat it. So once we get over that hump, that's a big hump, then we realize out of the raw foods, which is basically your vegetables and your fruits, berries and melons, which ones are more designed for the human body. And you can't say vegetables because where would you come up with that? It's not even intellectually stimulating to say that. So, I do consider cucumbers and things, but I would like to come up with another name, veggie fruits, or something like that to designate the difference, because if I'm eating an apple, a cucumber does not sound good when I'm eating the apple. I'm just going by how I feel about things. Now, I'm eating some grapes. I'm not going to take a bite of cucumber with it, or a bite of squash. So I think it's fruit, but of another category. Instead of tree-based, it's more plant-based. So I don't know. We'll come up with a real good name, huh? Let's come up with a real good name for that, because I agree that these are all, anything a plant or tree bears. Now, we can argue that nuts can also be considered the fruit of the tree. You can argue that. The problem is that the types of foods, even in the fruits, some are just not harmonious to wellness if overconsumed. Like I would never overconsume a mei-mei. I just certain fruit I can't overdo. I can't overdo bananas. They're too proteinish for me. But I love them. But two bananas, I'm more than done. But our friend Well, I showed you his picture enough. Our friend Ian, he was telling us at the last class, he consumed 7 to 11 bananas. Jenn'sPOV. Thank you. You're so helpful. Thank you, honey. I hope so. That's all I care to be. If I can help you guys win, let me do that. Because it's real rewarding. And what else are you going to do on this planet? So, get yourselves together. Get your health together. And then start growing spiritually. Start seeking some of the bigger answers of life instead of the little bitty, menial chit-chat stuff. The gossipy stuff. Anybody can have that conversation. How does one go after the lymph system? I have hyperthyroidism, so I know raw is helpful, but maybe exercise and other things as well. Exercise was definitely helpful if you're filtering. And let me just make that really clear. If you're filtering, have at it. I don't really care. But if you're not filtering, be very careful because you're creating more acids and you're putting stress on knees and hips. Not fruitful. Not a good idea. You rest first. Remember, rest. Why rest? This is a big, big thing, guys. I'm telling you. There was just something happened. I got to have it come in here, but something happened the other day about this. And rest is key. Oh, I had a man. This is a sad case. I think he was up in New York or New Jersey, and he sounded like a New York fireman. He had that accent down and everything, and he had esophageal cancer. If you look at the statistics in chemotherapy or in oncology, nobody survives esophageal cancer. There is no 1%, 2%. Nobody survives it after 5 years. They have a 0 right there. But we've been able to save a few because we've only had a few come to us. So we've been able to do really good. But this guy, I couldn't get him. And I haven't had him that long. But he wouldn't stop working. Wouldn't stop working, wouldn't stop working, wouldn't stop working. And I'm telling him, you got to stop working. The reason, I'm explaining the reason, is neurotransmitters. When you need energy for muscle and activity, you're not going to have energy for every single thing in your body. That's not how it works. So you have your epinephrines. You have epinephrine and norepinephrine. These are your adrenalines. These are for activity. Fight or flight, but this is for your activity and that sort of thing. But you have other neurotransmitters called dopamines and acetylcholines. For me, dopamines and acetylcholines are probably more for elimination, particularly dopamines. And we've had a lot of discussion about this, and very important, because dopamines and acetylcholines, in my opinion, work on the kidneys and bowels in terms of improved elimination. When you're low in these, you get constipated, you can't eliminate well. When you're stressed, that side shuts down and your epinephrines go up and you can't poop well. When you go on trips, notice you can't poop as good as when you're relaxed around the house. A shift in neurotransmitters. There's a physiological reason for this. So rest is at the kingpin of getting well. And most of you deserve a rest. You deserve to relax and have some fun once in a while. I'm a workaholic. Don't be like me. Not fun. Your body doesn't like it. It can't keep up with it. And, you wear yourself out. So take some time and have some fun. But in hyperthyroidism, there's only one answer, and do not take, in my opinion, do not take anything for your thyroid gland or you're going to shoot to the moon. This is pure inflammation, and all you do is detox. So I'd get myself on a little grape. If you want to get this done real quick, just put yourself on a 10-day grape fast or a 20-day grape fast. At the same time, I'm saying get the kidneys filtering, get your adrenal glands up, get your bowels cleaned up, get all this acid sewer system moving. Get all this stagnation in the body moving, get the body hydrated. All this hyperactivity will come right down to normal again. You don't have to have it cut out or a piece of it cut out. And that's the only way it's easy to get rid of hyperthyroidism. Not so in hypo, because hyper will eventually lead into hypo. We've had this discussion quite a bit. But look at Mick, Fleetwood Mac, drummer Mick. A little coke, a little this, a little that, but hyperthyroid. Marty Feldman, hyperthyroidism. Now, of course, as he's older, it's hypo, and of course, it's bigger Mick, when it used to be real skinny Mick. So you see those in hyper and hypothyroidism, but everything goes hyper, guys. Everything goes hypo and then death. Nature of the beast. And acids play a vital role in that decline and decay. That's why we call them corrosive in chemistry. With that, I'm going to leave you, my dear ones, and I will see you soon with another video. I love your questions. They're so good. And I think for you guys that are getting a little bored, just realize this is just about the cases. I know I haven't done anything spiritually for a while. It's just so much going on here, but I want to do more spiritual things as well. I find myself sometimes with not a lot to say because everything just is. You know, when you move yourself into the now, there's nothing to say anymore. It just is. The answers are there, and your awareness is there, but you don't have the need to always physically verbalize what you know and see. When I was growing in this field, I always wanted to give lectures and help people understand how you get to God consciousness and how you get well. It's always been my driving force, and so it's obvious why I'm here. And it's obvious why a lot of you are here. We're all joined up because we've got a tough egg to crack here, and that's this planet Earth. But we're working on it, and you guys are doing such beautiful work on yourselves. I love you all. Take care of yourself. It's a pleasure to see you when you come in. And here's a big hug for each and every one of you. And don't treat yourself bad. Treat yourself with love and respect. You deserve it. Blessings.